welcome and welcome to GouldFish on Games plays CSI Dark Motives. And yes, we're on to the second case. Hopefully we can get this finished in time and then might be able to do another one. We might not. We'll see how things go, shall we? So, hope you're ready as we load the game and start Prince and the Pauper. Ugh, the puns. They're gonna be thick and heavy in this one. Come on, load. Oh, we're gonna start over, sorry. Oh, and I guess we're going with Warwick Brown in this episode. While he was still part of the series, which means this is probably based on the first couple of seasons. Maybe season 3 or 4. I can't remember when he vanished. Hopefully that's not any form of spoiler for anyone. But yeah, he vanished after a bit. So they never really started off as a particularly, like, he was always that character that was meant to be, oh, he's probably going to go at some point. He's always breaking the law or coming very close to breaking it. So, not much of a surprise as this slowly loads. Now this is not the same machine we started playing this game on before. Since then I transferred it to one machine which doesn't work, and I transferred it to another machine that finally did, though it's a bit loud. Hopefully though that's not coming through on the microphone, because it's just whirring like mental underneath me. But let's see what it's like, shall we? Hopefully this should load relatively soon and we can get into it. Oh, come on, finish loading. I want to see the terrible character models. Now they're actually going to have the voice actor, or the actor who plays Warwick Brown actually doing his voice, or is it going to be a cheap imitation?
It's lively at the morgue tonight. Doc Robbins has the body of a homeless man, which unfortunately is a routine occurrence. But this Vic has some interesting anomalies.
Ooh.
Brass can get you the address of where the body was found, but first start with our best evidence, the body itself.
Hey, I'm Warwick Brown. We can use another good CSI. Catherine says you don't miss much. How about this time you don't miss anything? So let's go see the doc and find out what put this homeless corpse on the coroner's radar.
Wow, he's putting absolutely no effort into his voice acting. That head is pretty much static. Everything else is moving around it. Look at that. Right. I love how it just jumped straight in. There's no sort of easing into it. Just Gil Grissom just talking to you. So let's go and see the Doc Robbins in the morgue. Is he looming over us?
And the newbie, welcome to the morgue. Very helpful destination, unless it's your last. And I hope you aren't squeamish, because the body of evidence on any murder case starts with the body as evidence. I'm Dr. Albert Robbins, but we're going to be friends, so Doc or Al is fine. I'm here to answer your questions, uncover little pieces of truth that will add up to a bigger truth. How our Vic died, what the murder weapon was, possibly the deceased's identity. I deal with the kind of trace evidence that doesn't make itself obvious at the crime scene.
So what's the story here, Doc? Grissom said you found something that didn't quite add up on a homeless guy.
First glance, we've got a male, mid-30s, apparent alcohol poisoning fatality. Of course, we have bleeding out of the mouth consistent with this kind of death, and the expected filthy, ragged, and ill-fitting clothing. Not exactly the top story in the 11 o'clock news, right? But consider the stomach contents, traces of white French truffles, which go around $150 an ounce. Plus, we have a blood alcohol reading of 0.50. High, you say? Too high. The hardest core drinker would typically pass out long before hitting that mark. Well, that's a start. I've prepped a DNA sample for the computer as a matter of procedure.
Wow, you gonna give us a chance to get a word in there, Kate? Anywhere, Doc? Right, well, can you determine the time of death?
Normally pretty straightforward, but not in this case. The entire body should be rigid from rigor mortis. That's muscle losing its adenosine triphosphate and hardening. But the stiffness was inconsistent, absent in several joints, indicating that the Vic was moved. And without knowing the environmental conditions at the real site of the death, determining time of death becomes quite difficult.
You could have just said that. What kind of alcohol was used?
Wakeman vodka. Pretty high-class brand for a homeless guy, don't you think?
How do you even know that? You sort of mass spec the vodka to find out what it is. Or it's just, we'll just throw this in because it'll make it seem even more mysterious. And even though we're looking at the body, can we look at the body?
Sure, but here's another surprise for you. I found indications our fragrant vagrant may have been dressed posthumously. You'll also note that we have an oddly well-groomed corpse beneath the rags. Well-groomed, but you've still got the malnutrition and poorly healed wounds, consistent with the life on the streets. Some post-mortem bruising on the face, too.
Oh, it's all a mystery. Oh, we're gonna look at his stomach contents. Squeamish, look away.
No fatty deposits on the liver, smooth tissue, nutmeg color, too. Street person or not, this was no heavy drinker.
Interesting to know. Is there anything else? But we already got told we're going to get DNA, so I don't need to take any swabs.
Bruises indicate he may have been forcefully held down, not a post-mortem injury.
Did we do anything with the bruises? I don't really have, but let's see. It's been a while since I played this, so I've got to try and remember all the controls. Nope. I remember to try and dust everything because that screwed me over last time. Ooh, look at
Impression and tan line on his finger suggests he'd worn a ring for some time, months at least.
To me, does it look like he has no fingernails? It's just a single texture going all the way down. Ugh. Nothing else. Oh, what's this over here? Oh, we've got a stain. Can we collect the stain?
If you don't tell Grissom, I'll share a guess with you. The nose test says that's your standard issue garden variety vomit. Involuntary contractions cause the stomach to spew its contents up the esophagus. Lots of ways that reflex can be triggered. From a finger down the throat, to flu, to feelings of guilt.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I wonder if this PC is not handling this game. Oh, can we look?
He had a heart transplant, probably as an adolescent. So this is not a man who always lived his life on the streets. No evidence of any anti-rejection drugs in his system, though off his meds, he may have been living on borrowed time anyway.
I thought I was clicking on his nipple there. No, that. Seen that. There. I think we might have everything we need out of that. So, let's go talk to Brass.
Yeah? What do you need, guys?
You need some serious face work. Where was the body found?
Hey, you're gonna love this.
Oh, about not.
How about a condemned building that was once an insane asylum near the edge of town? Real eyesore. Drives us crazy. All the disturbance reports we get, kids causing trouble out there. I'll secure it for you.
Thank you. And location added. And what restaurant serves white French truffles?
Well, Vegas isn't short on gourmet dining, but still, those morsels are rare. I'll run a check on restaurants listing their specials online.
So, you're just going to do a Google search?
Only one hit for the past few days. Le Figaro restaurant, right downtown.
And we've got a second location. Woo! Right, let's go find where the body was initially dumped. Found. Oh, look at the establishing shot. Police line, do not cross. I think that's Klingon.
This pad's perfect for nightmares. Musty and damp.
This machine is... You think a 1 gigahertz Pentium 3 should be able to handle this game a bit better. Look at that frame rate. Choppy as hell. I'll have to try and get the other machines running again for the next part. But I do like the little animated light shadows going on there. But let's look around.
This is kind of out of place, you think? Not as dusty as everything else.
Look at the handle and smooth polished surfaces. There we go. You start getting feelings and hints of where stuff might show up. Anything else on this bag of tricks?
Seatback looks really weathered. Well, this little number rolled a long way.
Hey. What did it actually say against it? Seattle Grace Memorial Hospital. Now, I don't know if I used that tool much at all in the previous game we played. Is there much? Oh, pool of water. Let me take a swab.
You catch that pungent smell? Alcohol, maybe?
You would know. He was the alcoholic, wasn't he? Sure, there was some story about that. Ooh. And
You're close. Something similar.
why do you have a difference between the hand and the tweezers? I'm not sure. I think it'd just be easier just to have one. And is there anything? Oh, frame rate. That's just a pin. Oh.
Vic's
Ooh,
blood.
Blood.
This is where the EMTs picked up the body. It's pretty common to have bleeding from the mouth in an alcohol poisoning. No need to sample it.
Oh. He says.
Blood. The wheelchair. Our Vic was wheeled over here and dumped. Damn, that's cold.
He would have been by the time we got here. Oh, what's this? Oh.
Something else. Similar. Yeah, in this town it's better to be lucky than smart, and we just got lucky. A fly must have dropped her eggs on the Vic's blood. We're getting closer to the time of death.
Remember, early seasons of CSI, it was all about the bugs. Because Gil Grissom is the bug guy. And they could keep showing sort of CG animated sequences of bugs. Right. What's the chances we got everything we need here? We've got some stuff to process at least. Wheel, weird reflection off wheel. Yeah, let's go to Le Figaro.
We're with the crime lab and we need to speak with the manager.
I'm the manager and owner, Marcus Vanderhellen. Is there a problem?
There's no problem. We just have some questions. Background on an investigation.
Always a pleasure to be of service to law enforcement.
Always a pleasure to be helping law enforcement. Really putting a lot of effort in there. Right, let's have a word with you. Who have you served French truffles to?
Oh my, numerous people. It's a house specialty. Not always on the menu, you understand. But patrons flock here for it, when it's available. You'll have to be much more specific.
Do homeless people hang out in your alley?
Would you mind keeping your voice down, officer? It's a terrible problem that I frankly can't seem to do anything about. I've called you people dozens of times, and while I know you can't be everywhere at once, these tramps, bums, this human refuse, they frequent my alley and the dumpsters like a buffet line. This kind of thing, you understand, makes my patrons most uncomfortable. I'd rid the world of that filthy rabble if I could, much less my alley.
Calm down, Hitler. Do you remember seeing this victim in your alley?
These lowlifes are always lurking about back there, and as you might imagine, my relationship with any one of them is limited to chasing them the hell away. I wouldn't know one from the other. Interchangeable riffraff.
Can you give us the name of the people who ordered the truffle special?
We have an exclusive clientele, and as much as I would like to be of help, I must protect their privacy. No, I cannot do that.
That's all we need right now.
As people need to be knowing that they're not getting their names passed around by the restaurant they went to visit. That wasn't very well said, was it? Now let's go look down here.
Well, it may be a fine restaurant, but this is one rank alley. It's got to be a better place for a guy down on his luck to find a meal.
What do we have?
Truffle special and an asparagus omelet.
Yoink.
Truffle special, grilled eggplant pasta.
Yoink. We're just gonna nick all the receipts.
Truffle special with a baked Alaska dessert.
Ooh, baked Alaska. That's nice. $32 for it. Wow. Anything else back here? Oh, something over here.
Leftovers. Someone hungry enough might find this worth eating.
Yoink. Let's just nick everything out of the dumpster, because we're dumpster divers. Yes, anything more? Nope. Alright, now let's go to the laboratory, I guess. Try and process some of these bits and pieces we've gotten. And
What's
it's
up?
Greg in the lab again. Right, start passing.
That DNA's been amplified and graphed. It's in the computer.
There we go. And this.
Not the most fun I've had today. That was vomit, thank you very much, delicately laced with asparagus and scrambled egg. Asparagus omelet, maybe? Traces of DNA from the lining of the digestive tract, faint but not something Greg Sanders is likely.
Oop. Okay.
Prints in the computer for you. You're welcome.
There we go.
Mostly water, but also alcohol. Vodka. Distinctive formulation, so we've got a brand. Leroy Banks Premium.
Oh,
I've seen that
vodka.
stuff. $6 a bottle. Definitely for the budget conscious.
Asparagus scrambled egg. Can we do anything with these with him?
So we know somebody ordered that telltale asparagus omelet, only we don't know who. Garden variety restaurant receipt. Truffles special on it. Otherwise, not that special.
Not that special.
Garden variety restaurant receipt. Truffles special on it. Otherwise, not that special.
Alright, let's see what you think of this.
Nothing new to report on that.
And this.
That's ready for image enhancement microscopy.
And have some discarded food. You look like you need it.
Table scraps, but high-end ones. Kind you say you're bringing home to Poochie and then microwave for yourself.
That's it. Well, oh. See what we get from this. Searching, 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 searching. I hate this game because it cheats. It cheats so goddamn much. It doesn't have those 3 dots. Everything else looks good. That's different. Let's have to look at each one in turn. Not the most fun of the mini games that they've got in this game. That one. Possibly. No.
I don't know. Not sure any of these are similar enough.
I don't think so either. Got 2 bits of DNA, but I think we're still going to work out who it is. Doesn't want to drag the icons around all the time. Right. Oh, that's very much different. That's still very much different. Different. Different.
I don't know. Not sure any of these are similar enough.
Well, let's see if this pants is his. Nope, it's not. Ew. Searching, 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 searching. Right. Boom. Nope. Nope. I swear they did these as much more fun mini games in the Xbox 360 and Nintendo Wii versions. Oh.
I don't know. Not sure any of these are similar enough.
And microscope time. Oh. Oh, I think that's a match.
Time of death? 28 hours prior, give or take a few hours. Yesterday, around dinner time.
Okay, I'm not sure what that gives us. Actually, can we go talk to Brass?
Need something?
Can you trace the origin of the wheelchair?
Well, we know it's from Grace Memorial Hospital in Seattle, but we could use something more distinguishing. Hard to get a history on it otherwise.
I wonder if I'm missing something. You get a warrant for the credit card owner of the restaurant.
You got it. That's a good, solid lead. Make our entrepreneur pal look it up for you.
Okay, let's go talk to him. I think he will help us, possibly. Can you give the credit card number from the asparagus omelette recipe? Recipe? Receipt. Oh.
Reluctantly, I will honor your warrant and pray that you will remain discreet.
I pray you'll remain discreet. Oh, so terrible accents. Is there more?
Can't make out this number, but it's etched in the metal. Pretty superficial. Sometimes acid brings out more of the detail, but it might destroy the image altogether. Any ideas? There's nothing special there. Nothing for us there. We can't use that here. You shouldn't dust for prints here. You won't be able to dust that for prints. That's not right for this. Great idea. Microcell makes a good negative mold.
Oh, I guess we found the bit we were looking for. Wow, that's really, you were meant to spot that tiny line. Now, let's go back to Brass, because he should be able to help us in multiple ways now. Lucky
What's
Brass. Warrant interrogations. Oh no. So actually got to go to the lab first, process this, then go back to him.
Hey.
Documents. Credit card slip.
With the credit card info, you should be able to track the person's identity on the computer. I've set up a search for you.
Good job you're around to do this, so we don't have to.
Microcell mold of an impression? Clever. Ran a few processes, enhanced it further, reversed it, and voila! Serial number SN21003.
Did he just say voila rather than voila? Ah. At least he's actually putting some effort into his voice acting. Now let's search. Oh, result found.
Got a hit. J.J. Thomas. Address and everything.
Credit card limit, $50,000. Wow. That's a credit card limit and a half.
Need something?
Can you trace the Grace Memorial wheelchair SN blah 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 blah?
I'll check. Yeah, here it is. Gotta love the net.
Gotta love the net.
Sold at a public sale at a cancer clinic about a year ago. No name, though.
Well, that's as useful as a part in a spacesuit. Can you get me a warrant interrogation for location? Yeah, that
I need more
help.
than hunches before I turn you loose in there. Give me something solid to work with.
Oh, it's actually just giving us a address. I didn't spot that because I'm blind. Obviously.
Please come in. May I help you?
We're with the crime lab. Would you mind answering a few questions?
Is this the Thomas residence?
Yes, it is. It's the home of J.J. Thomas. And I'm Claire Thomas, his daughter. If you're here to see my father, I'm afraid he passed away recently.
We're sorry for your loss, Miss Thomas.
What's this about, officers?
It's just a routine matter, but we could use your input.
Certainly.
How did your father die?
Bravely. He'd been fighting a long battle with lung cancer, and that's a war you just can't win. I hope I can help you, but I'm not really at my best at the moment. I was close to my father. I'm an only child, and my mother died when I was 5. Daddy was really all the family I had, and now I'm just sorting through things, putting a lifetime into boxes. I'm a little confused and just barely keeping it together. So, if we could make this short, I'd be grateful.
No problem. We just have a few questions.
Are you staying here?
Yes, while I settle the estate. This was my father's winter residence. The rainy weather in Seattle was hard on him. Last year, when he got worse, he moved here permanently, and I stayed in Seattle.
Can we take a look around inside?
I understand that you're just doing your job, but I'm afraid as vague as you've been, I can't see cooperating to that extent. Not when I'm under this kind of pressure. Maybe later if you can make the reasons for this intrusion a little more clear.
Pressure? Have you purchased anything with your father's credit card recently?
From time to time. I'm his executor and sole heir, and I'm cleared to put charges on the corporate card.
Did you go and dine at La Figaro restaurant recently?
Why, yes I did. Just the other night, actually.
Who did you dine with?
Now this is embarrassing. Well, I guess you won't be surprised if I say I've been an emotional train wreck since Daddy died, and frankly, I've been lonely as hell. And I met a man at the casino lounge the other day. We had a nice conversation, and it seemed like there was this little spark between us, only, well, let's just say nothing ignited. Kinda came to my senses, and we did share a meal, but not phone numbers.
What did you both order?
Oh, that's an odd question. I'll have to think. I had an asparagus omelet, which is a favorite of mine. Really, I don't remember exactly what my, friend had. Frankly, he was nice enough, but awfully bland.
Well, I'm guessing that's all he has to say. And there's not much else here. Look at that picture. That's terrible. Oh dear. Well, looks like we're probably missing something then. Time to go back to the locations. Oh, that more broken glass. I'm just going to constantly looking for these little bits of broken glass around here. That was the blood stain we found earlier.
Hey, we got some muddy footprints here.
That.
Ward Brown's first rule. It all comes down to shoe prints.
Well, that's because shoes were important to your very first case. Which I actually did watch recently. The pilot episode. You can very much see how it set the entire series up, even if it was a little bit weird. A lot of the characters not acting like the actual characters that you come to know, particularly later on. Like Brass being an absolute dick to everyone. Until they decided to obviously mellow him out and change his character around. Well, let's go back to the lab, shall we? Even the lab being completely
Yes?
different. Yes. Muddy footprint. Have it.
Walk over to the computer and you'll find that shoe print scanned in.
Items. If we can do anything with
Can't
that.
think of much more to tell you about that.
Tools. Is there anything to collect in this? Because this is what screwed me over last time.
Part of a print, but it stops at the edge where the glass is broken.
If we look at this, we'll probably find the other part of that print. Evidence, no, tools, detection.
Print's cut off at the break. Barely a partial.
We needed a very, very deep sting for that one. Right. I'll take it.
I've done everything I can think of with that. Nothing new to report on that. Can't think of much more to tell you about that.
I'm not going. Can I actually go into it? No. We can't force it to join the two together. Oh, we're still missing a part. We're still missing a part. Is there a third bit of glass? Let's see if there is anything new that the morgue guy. Oh, yes, there we go. Any traces of blowflies on the body?
Not that I could find. Fluid was lost from the victim, though. That could attract some blowflies anywhere the body has recently been.
Let me look at the body
You
again.
got it.
That. Did all that. See if he knows anything about this. Do you remember Claire Thomas?
Miss Thomas, certainly. Lovely young woman. She's the daughter of the late J.J. Thomas. Very distinguished industrialist. Ordered her favorite, asparagus omelette. She was dining with a slender man, about 5'10", 5'11", I'd say. Perhaps around 40, 35 years of age. He behaved himself, but he seemed out of place, frankly. Ill at ease. An odd choice for a dining companion for the likes of Miss Thomas.
Because you know her so well and everything, being the Metro D. I know all my customers extremely well. Do you know J.J. Thomas?
I was honored to know him personally. He was much more than just a regular patron to me. A generous man, with a warmth that not all wealthy people, if I might be frank, display. JJ even sometimes had me at his condo, where we spoke of the arts and politics and business over martinis into the wee hours. He was a friend. I miss him dearly.
That's all we need right now.
That just sounded a bit creepy. If there's anything more. Over here. Oh, wait. What's this? Oh.
Torn cloth. Someone must have got snagged hopping the fence.
We've got a bit more stuff to go on. Just slowly building up of stuff.
Hey,
Items. Very
denim
weird there.
fabric. Found blood on it. I've thermocycled it and dropped the chromosome map into the computer.
Oh, we also got the bloody footprint to look at. Oh, different. No, different. That's obviously different. That looks pretty close.
Looks like you got a match. Pretty consistent with the size 11. Though prints from mud can be misleading.
Yeah, remember that. They can be misleading. A new bit of DNA to look at. Searching. I get the feeling that none of this is going to match, because none of the previous ones have. Yep, not looking good.
I don't know. Not sure any of these are similar enough.
Doesn't match our guys. It doesn't. Oh, whether that was. No, it doesn't match anything we've found so far. We just keep getting lots and lots of bits of weird evidence that doesn't mean a hell of a lot. See. What size is our Vic? What size is his feet?
Forget something?
How tall was the victim?
This guy? Measured him at 5'9" and some change.
Does she have anything new for us?
I don't have anything else to say.
That would be a no then. Does Brass have anything for us?
Yeah? What do you need, guys?
Who does the we need to go.
Hey, lots of people wear shoes, criminals and otherwise. You'll need more than a shoe print to narrow the field.
Yeah, I was surprised that was even an option. Can we talk to her?
A stronger link between the suspect and the crime scene might get you closer to that warrant. Just not enough yet. Keep at him about these homeless guys hanging out in his alley.
Okay, let's do that.
That's all I have to share right now.
Found everything in there. I wonder if there's more of those glass fragments. We looked at that, we got our evidence earlier. Vodka. It was different vodka to what he had in him.
Disruption in the dust could be important. There's a better card in the deck for that.
What's that? I don't think there's anything else in here. Chair again. We looked at that. The blue light, which is under there. We swapped that. We didn't need to swap that, I should say. Anything else? See what Greg makes of this thing that we found.
What's up? Shoe print scanned in the computer.
We have our shoe print computer. A very vague shoe. I don't know if any of these match. That's a very vague shoe.
I don't know. Not sure any of these are similar enough.
Back to a location. Le Figaro. Must be more in this dumpster. It's going to be another one of those ones where it's one small thing that I'm missing. We looked at there, that's where we got our snagged stuff. We don't have the torch in this one. We had a torch in the previous one that allowed us to see in the dark a bit better. There's no light around here.
What's up?
You're obviously not giving us anything new. I wonder if there's anything we're missing any of our... Ooh, zoom in.
Powdery substance. Try using a similar tool.
There we go. Will this will this break this case wide open?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's trace, isn't it? There we go. Powdery substance.
Diphacinone, a highly toxic rodenticide. Rat poison. But somebody sprinkled it on. It wasn't mixed in.
You mean someone's out to get homeless people?
Nice, huh? The rat here is the one sprinkling on poison like it's seasoning. Warwick, these are human beings, people in trouble, and some restaurant owner is going to just get rid of them like they're an infestation because they're bad for business?
I hear you. This guy's starting to really rub me the wrong way.
Thank you for the moral lesson of this episode. No, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah? What do you need, guys?
Not you. Go away. I want to go to the morgue. To the morgue! Any traces of rat poison in the body?
Diphacinone? Manufacturers are required by law to incorporate an indicator dye to help identify it in the organs and bloodstream if the pesticide has been ingested. I found no traces of that or the poison itself in the body. However, there are ways to mask traces of poison, and this victim certainly shares many of the same characteristics that you'd find with a poisoning death.
Dun dun dun. Let's go talk to the guy at Le Frigoro. Oh, doesn't want to say anything. Let's see if Brass has anything to say.
What's up?
Warrant. Suspect. Restaurant owner.
Vander Helen's food was in the victim's stomach, and he's got a real thing about the riffraff in his alley. Okay, so we couldn't actually find poison in the victim's system, but still, he's got an axe to grind. Let's bring in Mr. Warmth.
Mr. Warmth. You go into the alley often?
On occasion. As the manager, I from time to time take the garbage out. I'm not sure I'd say often.
Did you put the razor wire up?
It's
There
my
we go.
property. Is taking security precautions a crime in this country now?
Is it possible the homeless man died in your alley?
What control do I have over what happens behind my restaurant when I'm not present? If some scavenger ate something he shouldn't and met an unfortunate end accordingly, well, what fault is that of mine? I have my free will, and he has had his.
Do you use poison to keep the homeless people out of your alley?
All restaurants, even the finest, and ours is certainly one, have problems with vermin.
And you had your problems, right? With infestation? Namely homeless guys trying to find a crust of bread, scrap of meat. So you sprinkled rat poison all over your garbage like you were seasoning a stew. And our homeless victim came sniffing. And your generosity met his hunger and contributed to the man's death.
Look, even if I admitted to doing what you said, which, keep in mind, I haven't, there's no way I'd use enough poison to kill somebody. Just a light sprinkle here and there to keep the vermin away. That's all.
Well, you could bet we'll be in touch if any other homeless come in with as much as a stomachache. Oh, and you're still on our suspect list.
Can we get a DNA sample?
Why not? I'm not guilty of a thing except trying to run a spick and span establishment.
Spick and span establishment. And we want your fingerprints.
I have no objection. Glad to cooperate. I'm a respectable citizen, and you're wrong about me.
Right. Got anything else? So back to the lab. Let's see if we can do anything with these bits of evidence we just got.
What's up?
And I really cannot believe how much this game is struggling on this machine. Oh, I wonder if it's memory. Anyway.
I amplified and graphed that DNA of yours, scanned it into the computer.
And take that.
That print has been scanned into the computer for you.
Fingerprint. Directly have it. That and that. Oh, they look very different to each other. So that's not what we need. DNA. DNA. Here's DNA, and then drag this over. Oh, that's different. That's different. And that's different. This DNA is useless to us. That's not helped. I was hoping to crack the case and I didn't crack the case, so let's start going back. Oh.
Looks like fresh paint over here.
He got paint. Can we do anything with the paint?
Yes.
Did they just record that one line?
The paint, which I put through a thin layer chromatographic analysis, separating the organic compounds, is consistent with canned spray paint. A few different graffiti crews like to get creative with this stuff.
I wonder if brass can do anything with the paint and everything else.
Need something?
Who does the graffiti and muddy proof super and implicate?
The graffiti plus those tough tread bruiser prints? Yeah, I know those graffiti punks. Try the bloody core. You should go check their hangout.
The bloody cool. Alright, let's have a look here then, I guess. That video played fine. What's wrong with you, you stupid computer?
Wow, and I thought Sanders' crib was a mess.
We just pick that up. Can we do anything with it?
We can't use that here.
Oh, that's just
Blank. Could be useful anyway.
We've not got a pencil to scrape over it, you know? That old trick. Find stuff that way. Oh, spray can. Is smooth polish surfaces. No. Ah, come on. Nope. So let's just collect it. Yoink.
It's a bad habit, but good evidence.
And take that as well. That meant to be a British flag, or half of a Union flag on the side there. Oh, no, that's just going back here. Everything. Doesn't seem like a lot, but let's see what we can do.
Hey,
Hey, wow, we actually have a different voice there. And hello, people in the chat. It's been a while since I've played the CSI game, so I might be a bit rusty here, but I think I'm making reasonable progress. Paper!
electrostatic imprint lifter shows us what was on the previous page. Handwritten, pawn shop, Ogden and Forth.
Hey, we've got another location. Sheesh. This one's just throwing locations at us, isn't it? Items. Take the cigarette butt.
Tiny traces of mitochondrial DNA. I was able to amplify it enough for a profile, waiting for you in the computer.
Yes. Take the spray can.
And we have a match. Same exact paint batch as that stuff swabbed at the Laughing Academy.
Even when you add up 1 + 1, we still come up a partial.
Is there a third part? Or can we do anything with the partial?
I've done everything I can think of with that.
We must be still looking for another part to that thing, whatever it was. Anyway, I think we got some DNA. Time to look through. Nope, doesn't match. Doesn't match. Doesn't match. Doesn't match. Sheesh. We're just getting loads and loads of evidence, and none of it is particularly useful. Can we go to the pawn shop? Let's go to the pawn shop. No, I tried doing this earlier, but oh, there was one. Like, let's do white on white.
Damn, it's just a partial.
Ooh, what the? What happened there? The animation just completely screwed up. Can we add that? Ah, we've got a complete one. Let's see if we can actually do anything with it quickly, and then go into the place.
Yes?
Yeah.
Hey, I scanned that print into the computer for you.
Well, I'm not sure how well a fingerprint that's made out of 3 completely separate items that aren't really linked in any way, that when come together form a finger. That seems a stretching it. It wouldn't hold up in court. But hey, I guess I can't really question it too much. Oh, that looks like this one is not a fingerprint we've seen so far. Where's that match? No, that doesn't scroll it. That looks different. Ooh. I know this area is different. Ooh. This one's looking good.
Hey, a real lead. Let's track Sid down and see how vicious he is.
Finally! We actually had a fingerprint that matched something. Way! Lane Jackson. Sheesh. Local car stereo theft ring. That really ages it. Who steals car radios anymore? Who even calls them a car radio anymore? Oh, dear. And so we should be able to talk to Brass about that, I guess. Hey Brass, we made up this fingerprint out of lots of little bits. Warrant interrogation. Suspicious thug.
Not enough yet. Maybe find a stronger link between the suspect and the victim.
Well, can you find him so we can talk to him? Let's go to the pawn shop.
This looks like the paper we analyzed. Same handwriting, same address.
Well, let's take it then. Anything else to take in here? No. Oh, cigarette butt. Still smoking.
Open 24 hours, except when we arrive. Typical.
Typical. Be back soon. Yeah. Okay. Back to the lab, process these things, confirm they come from the same person.
What's up?
All that jazz that we've come to expect. Under items. Take that.
We've got some mitochondrial DNA from the smoker's mouth. I got a feeling this bud is bad for somebody's health.
Not really sort of put him anywhere near
Can't think of much
anything.
more to tell you about that.
DNA, cigarette here, cigarette there.
That's the same guy as in the hangout. Probably waiting for the pawn shop to open. Which should be around now.
So we have to do this to then go back to the pawn shop again. So got to make this feel like it's a living world. Oh, and look, there we go. Dude,
What are you looking at?
What you looking at? What's your name, punk?
Joe Nobody. What's yours?
Warwick Brown, Crime Lab. You willing to answer a few questions?
Not unless you got a good reason to.
Are you Lane Jackson?
So what if I am?
With your flames over your man breasts. Are you a member of the Bloody Corpse?
Member? Do I look like a member of anything?
Your head sort of looks like a member. Ooh. You have a ring.
A ring. Pretty grimy. This could be a family crest. Well, this one's definitely not fresh off the rack. There's a better card in the deck for that.
We got some vomit. please, or whatever that is. And can we just take the jacket? Yes, we can take the jacket. No, my name is Suspicious Thug. I feel that's how I'm going to introduce myself from now on. New person at work. Blah, blah, blah. Hello, I'm Suspicious Thug. I'm sure that'll go down great. Did you throw this ring away?
What if I did? It's junk.
It's junk. And did you throw out this jacket?
It's a piece of crap. I was done with it and I threw it away. Wear it yourself means so much to you.
We're now trying to say that he's had the jacket so we can then join up all the evidence. Or something.
Hey.
So we've got more evidence to throw your way. So that's all we seem to get in this episode. Jacket swab.
Pretty fancy meal for somebody to upchuck on such a scroungy jacket. The ever popular asparagus omelet, brie cheese. Light on the DNA though, not enough to amplify for the computer.
And the hair?
One of the things we look at on human hair is the medullary index, the ratio of the diameter of the medulla to the shaft. But the index on the one you found is quite high, suggesting a different animal. Judging by the scale pattern, I'd guess a cute little kitty. You might be able to determine the species by comparing it under the microscope to known samples.
Oh, and there was a cat box at the house. Pawn shop ring.
Found a gold ring under the gunk and grime. This crest on it would have made it hard to pawn. Pretty small, size 5.
And the jacket.
I've done everything I can think of with that.
I want to talk to the doc. What size is the victim's ring finger?
Based on my measurements, it looks like a size 5.
Ah. And I want to talk to her. No, there we go. Condo. Actually, no, I probably should. Jumping around too much. Hi, bye.
What's up?
Yes, it could have been an evil Bree. Oh, it's under the microscope, isn't it? Oh. Nope. Possibly. Different colour. Oh. Nope. It was that one.
Singapura. It's a rare breed. Is that a rich guy's pet?
It's always sort of these, like, oh, it's a rare this, rare that. That way we can link it to someone. Like, it's not just a standard tabby cat or something, you know? Did your father own a Singapore cat?
Yes, he did. You do come up with things, officers. She's around here, somewhere.
That's it. I was expecting Fred to do a bit more of that. Let's see if we can do much with brass.
Yeah? What do you need, guys?
You get local owners as breeders of Singapore cats.
Well, that's easy enough to check.
We have the internet.
Oh, yes, several to choose from. 7 through Nevada, but only 1 here in the city. Registered to a J.J. Thomas, Suite 3700, North Meadows Condos.
I'm guessing this one actually allowed you to get to different places through different means. Like, you could have gotten to the condo through finding the cat hair rather than getting the receipt as we did earlier. I wonder if that's enough to form a link or not. Were you at the abandoned asylum earlier today?
I don't keep track of petty details. I'll have to check my day planner.
You were at the asylum. It's where you and your graffiti pals practice your art. You threw that ring away because they asked you too many questions about it at the pawn shop. Or maybe you saw the cops in the neighborhood. Oh, and I think maybe you killed a man.
Go to hell. I didn't kill anybody. I found an old jacket. I found a crummy ring. So sue me.
You found them, all right. You found them on the man you killed.
Screw you.
Cutscene Investigation is a game that I would play. Imagine just setting the cats out and they would just wander off trying to find the clues and everything. You'd probably just end up sitting in a corner and hocking up a hairball or something, but it'd be enjoyable to watch, possibly play. Well, why did you take the victim's jacket? Come on, click. There we go.
Hey, look! Back off! I've been in the slammer, okay? And I just went back to the old hang. Only nobody was around, and, well, there was this dude. I thought he was sleeping at first. He was all sprawled out, looking weird. And looked dead. And damn, he was dead. So what the hell? Helped myself to some stuff. Sure, that was cold, but life is cold. And dude didn't look like he needed a jacket anymore.
Or a ring, huh? Now I'll tell you how I see it going down. You went back to your old hangout, all right. But your old buds weren't around. Just a homeless guy, minding his business. Only you needed a jacket, and you saw that ring. Held him down, poured that stuff down his throat, killing him. And then, like you said, you helped yourself.
No way, man. No frickin' way. Look, I'm no prize, but I don't kill guys for anything. Let alone some scuzzy jacket and tarnished old ring or whatever.
Or whatever. So, where were you at the time of the killing?
I told you, in Stir. Prison.
Yeah, we'll check into that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got for you.
Let's see what Brass has to say.
Need something?
Was Lane Jackson in jail 24 hours ago?
That's an easy one. Now that is an alibi. He was inside, all right. He may not be our favorite human, but he's also not our man.
Let's get a warrant. Location and the condo, I think. Hopefully we've got
She
enough.
ate the omelet, and her cat's hair is on the jacket. So let's see if she's hiding anything else.
Hey, we actually got a warrant in this game. And back to the condo. Yeah, ask her first. Yes, we have a warrant to look around inside.
Some routine matter? Look, I've been honest with you. All right, go on, go ahead. But make it quick. And please don't disrupt the things I'm sorting. There's so much work here with the estate.
That's all we need right now. Wakeman vodka. That's the victim's brand.
That meant to be a really cheap vodka. Here, kitty kitty. Okay. Your hair. Ooh, we got a fireplace.
Now, here's something Gris would love. Blowfly larva. Body fluids could have been cleaned up, but not before this little guy got himself out of the way. Little fella might be our new best friend.
Oh,
It's a burned document, a report or something.
It's ours now. See what else Anything else around here? Or is it just something you can look at? There's nothing else to this picture.
Look, on his tie. Well, that's familiar. Remember the crest on the ring we found?
Oh, is he an illegitimate son or something like that? Or her brother who sort of ran away and blah de blah de blah. Is there anything else? Because she didn't sound all that broken up earlier. To the lab!
Hey,
Hey. More cat hair.
the image enhancement and microscopy equipment is where that's going.
Have some... Didn't do anything with that? No. Okay. Have that.
Couldn't restore the whole deal, but I did stabilize some of the burned paper enough to tell this is, or was, a private investigator's report, commissioned by the late J.J. Thomas himself. Trying to locate someone, it seems. Couldn't make out the name of the investigating firm, though. Even I'm not perfect.
Yeah, we never thought you were. Your 3 lines of speech. And have another blowfly.
It's pretty mangled, so there's no point popping it under the microscope. But here's the good news. We tried a new technique for analyzing blowfly contents, and guess what we found? DNA.
DNA. So, what else? So, can we... A blowfly. We've got some victim DNA somewhere. Victim's DNA.
Looks like our homeless victim dropped by the Thomas condo recently. Interesting.
It matches! Ha 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 ha! I think we're getting somewhere now. What else did we have? Cat hairs. Condo hair. More condo hair.
Same cat.
I think it's time to have a word with our new best friend. Yes,
What's up?
That you had so many DNA swatches. Is that the right word? So many bits of DNA, and none of them matched. So finally, something that did. But hopefully, that's enough that we can bring her in.
Claire Thomas spent time with our victim right around the time he was killed, and she had her dead father's wheelchair to cart a corpse around. This case is sounding solid. Let's invite her to our party.
It's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. Cry, cry, wolf, that is. Right, were you recently at the abandoned asylum?
Abandoned what? I don't think so. You people are completely out of your minds, though, so I can see how an insane asylum might fit in.
Where is your father's wheelchair?
I have no idea. He hasn't needed it much since his death. The hospital must have it. Check with them if it's important for some stupid reason.
Some stupid reason. DNA sample. Hopefully you can match some
I would
more
imagine
stuff.
I don't have much choice.
And fingerprints. See if we can match
Why
more
not?
fingerprints.
If it'll help clear up this ridiculous matter.
That's all we need right now.
Back to the lab. At the world's slowest fade.
Yes.
Yes. You get the feeling that the actor just had fun doing the stupid voices in this game. DNA.
That DNA is scanned and in the computer already. Amplified and graphed.
And the fingerprint.
Prints in the computer for you. You're welcome.
I didn't say thank you. So, you're jumping the gun there, mate. So, fingerprints. Claire's fingerprint. Chair. You know, that might be a match.
Claire handled that wheelchair all right.
But if she's pushing her father around, okay, maybe that's a good enough reason. But let's see what we can do with more DNA. They just randomly put this stuff around here. Nothing there. Claire's DNA, Marcus's pant stain DNA. Ooh.
Blair Thomas, our indignant suspect.
Do we go back to... I think it's time. Does this show if it's... Come on. I've got victim DNA. Yeah.
Devil's in the details, they say, and these don't make it a match. You should make sure you've got a match before you ask me for confirmation.
I was seeing if they would match, like, close enough that it could have been classed as sort of siblings or something, you know?
Yeah? What do you need, guys?
Back to Claire Thomas.
Sure, let's get your suspect back in here.
Why have you been lying to us?
Lying? Why would I lie to you? All I did was have dinner with a guy who turns out to have been homeless. He wasn't dressed like a homeless man when he struck up a conversation with me in that lounge.
I'm sure he wasn't dressed in his street person attire when you dined together, but you made sure he was back in his rags when the time came.
I already told you. Nothing happened between us.
Did you use your father's wheelchair to dump the body?
How did that asylum go out of business with customers like you waiting to get in?
Hey, roll out all the attitude you want, lady. You were in that asylum. Your fingerprints are on that wheelchair. Your father's wheelchair, which you used to dump the body.
What a stunning piece of evidence. My fingerprints were on my father's wheelchair? However could they have gotten there?
Well then, why don't you tell me how your DNA got on the victim's clothes? He was in your father's condo, Claire, shortly after you were having dinner with him, right before his death. I don't buy your love connection. What's the real story?
You're reaching. You don't have anything. You don't know a damn thing.
Who is he, Claire? Or who was he? Or should I ask, why was your father so intent to find some homeless nobody? A nobody with your family crest on his ring.
Why don't you come back when you've got your own theory?
Is the victim the person in this missing persons report?
All right, all right, all right. My father? I gave my life to him, living the way he wanted me to, going to the schools he chose, taking the courses he picked, working for him, living with him, never marrying. And suddenly, when he's sick, he starts talking about his son, my half-brother, by his first wife. First I ever heard of it, and my father gets all misty-eyed and regretful. Oh, poor child ran off and quit college, disappeared after he and my father had bitter words of some kind. And my father? He wrote the boy off. Kid was dead, far as my father was concerned. That is, until my father lay dying and gets all syrupy sentimental.
He wanted to find his son before he died and hired an investigator who found him right here in Vegas.
Street rabble. Only by the time my brother turned up, Papa was already dead. I decided to meet him. Size him up. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. We could run the company together and... Well, only when I saw him, he was... this vile, foul-smelling bum.
That ring with your crest? He'd held on to it, no matter how much he might have been tempted to trade it in for a meal or a bottle.
He was as sentimental as my father, I guess. Anyway, I cleaned him up before we went out, bought him a nice meal. And I told him I'd even see that he was given a fair settlement, and we'd even see about a position of some kind with the company. But oh no, straight from the gutter to greed personified. He
Interesting
was going to
camera
fight
angle,
me for
I
the
guess.
inheritance, as the firstborn son. He shouldn't have done that. I was the chosen one, or I had been. He fell asleep on the couch. He'd had a lot to drink for him. I got on top of him. He was half asleep. But when he
bet you
woke
enjoyed
up, I
that.
kept him pinned, and I shoved that vodka down his greedy throat. He almost drowned on it, but I didn't let up. I didn't let up. Then he was dead, and somehow I got the new clothes off him and his awful clothes put back on. And that was when it hit me. What I'd done, what I'd stooped to. And that expensive meal came up, and it was horrible. But I got my act together, and I wheeled him out to the van, over to the asylum, and I just dumped him like the homeless parasite he was. What did he ever amount to anyway?
Nothing much, but look how well you turned out.
You know, seems every family has a black sheep. Sometimes it's a surprise who that black sheep turns out to be.
Oh, Gil Grissom. So, what was the name of Marxist? That was Le Figaro. Type of flag was hanging. That was a... Oh, that's wrong. It's not a Union Jack. It's only a Union Jack when it's on a boat at sea. Else it's the Union flag. Yeah, there you go. There's your random bit of trivia. It was Singaporea. It was at the abandoned asylum. And that was a size 5. Can't believe I remembered all that information. Oh yeah, I got it all right. And so, let's have a look at some of these extras, shall we? That's if this CD-ROM drive and DVD drive, whatever's in this machine, and the machine itself can handle it, obviously. That looks strange. This sort of gives me Half-Life 2 vibes. Yeah. Like the box for this game, it says that it should be playable on a 600 megahertz CPU. A Pentium 3 600 or an AMD Athlon 600. And this is a Pentium 3 1 gigahertz, so it should have more than enough power. But it seems to struggle. continue through these. So yeah, this PC should be more than enough for it, but it does seem to struggle for some reason. I'll have to try and get the XP machine up running again. So I was using an AMD 64, but it seemed to be really unstable. Like, it would just be all sorts of weird. And so I have a Pentium 4, which seemed to be less weird, but after a while would just randomly stop working for a while. So I don't know if it's overheating or something weird. So yeah, I've got machines that I have to look at and work out. The only picture of the bum in the entire game, and Lane Jackson. Lane Jackson, more like. Ho ho! Or Thug Suspect. Oh, is that meant to be flaming skulls over his movies? Oh, what's this guy got to say?
In the novels in particular, I get inside the story in a way that TV doesn't because it's exterior. The game is, of all the things I've written on CSI, the game is the most like writing the show. And I have to say it's extremely gratifying. The biggest thrill for me in doing these video games is, as the sort of roadshow CSI guy, the guy who does the novels and does the comic books and does the licensing work, I don't get to hear these actors speak my lines. I hear them in my head, as many crazy people do. But this game gave me the opportunity, these two games have given me the opportunity to hear William Peterson, Mark Helgenberger, speak my lines. And I have such great respect for this cast. It gives me a really big charge. From my perspective, and admittedly it's my perspective, it would be better to inject the gaming elements into a real story than to try to inject story elements into the game. It's always a bit of a compromise, and there's no way around that. It's difficult for something to be two things at once, and so I think it's one of the remarkable things about this game is that it can do two things at once. It can be, I hope, on some level, a satisfying story, and on another level, that gaming experience that is the primary reason people come to CSI, the video game.
Yes, as they say, Elton John. He somehow let himself go and decided to start writing CSI books and games. And on that bombshell, I think we can leave this for tonight. This has been like an hour and 40 minutes of playing part 2 of CSI Dark Motives. And the other game that he was talking about was the very first CSI game, which I have around here somewhere. Last time I tried to install it, it didn't work, but I do now have a machine I think will run it, which is the same one as this. Maybe it'll play it better, but we'll get onto that one way after we finish this game. I think we've still got at least 3 more cases, or 2 main cases, and then the 5th one ties everything back together again. But yeah, I think that is a good place to leave it for the evening. We're coming almost up to exactly 1 hour and 40 minutes. And part of me is tempted just to waffle on for a bit for that last minute and just get it exact, but that's stupid. You don't want exact numbers for these things. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and yeah, hopefully we'll get the second part out. The third part out quicker than it taking another month. But I will say next month I have all sorts of things that I have to do, so it might be another month away, the last week of September, but I will try. And with that, I've been the GouldFish. That was a bum who ate a very nice meal and then got killed off by his stepsister. So if anything you got to learn from this game, don't have stepsisters. They'll kill you, especially if they give you a nice meal. And I was GouldFish. I already said that at the beginning. And this was GouldFish on Games. So thank you all so very much, and I hope you enjoyed it. goodbye. And remember, subscribe and all that jazz. Subscribing, notification, blah blah blah. You don't care. But I've got to say it because it's mandatory. It's like law or something. Thank you. Goodbye.